Way our leaders have responded to this pandemic, and we assume most were well-meaning, but still, America is now facing its worst jobs crisis since the Great Depression. In the past month, more than 1 in 10 American workers has lost a job. Getting our people back to work must be our top national goal, period. Poverty over time will kill more Americans and destroy more American families than any virus ever could. Yet amazingly, some of our country's leaders are working tonight to make certain Americans remain unemployed. Over the weekend, NPR reported that Agriculture Secretary Sonny Perdue is fighting to lower something called the adverse effect wage rate. The AEWR essentially is a special minimum wage that applies only to guest workers in agriculture. It's higher than the normal U.S. minimum wage. It was designed to prevent companies from using foreign workers to drive down American wages. Of course, driving down wages is the dream of most companies. Why wouldn't it be? Now the Department of Agriculture is working to help companies do that. Lowering the federal wage rate wouldn't simply make it easier to bring in more foreign workers. It would also allow companies to force pay cuts on any domestic employees they currently have. And if the workers don't like it, they could be fired and replaced by foreigners. So we contacted the Agriculture Department. We asked, why is lowering wages and bringing in more foreign workers suddenly so important right now, with millions and millions and millions of Americans out of work? And they replied this way, quote, "Long-standing challenges facing the agriculture industry have been exacerbated by these uncertain times." So there you have it, long-standing. In other words, they've been trying to do this for quite some time, and the crisis is just a perfect time to do it. In fact, if federal bureaucrats want to make sure the crops are picked and the food supply is secure, and those are good goals, there are other things they could do. They could even help out-of-work Americans get temporary jobs on farms if they wanted. They could subsidize their wages for the duration of this disaster. And there are other options. But those options are being ignored. And the irony is, the same people who want an endless torrent of foreigners working here, and a lot of them work in think tanks, many in the federal government, happen to be the same people who are happy to lecture you and the rest of us about the sacred efficiency of markets. Right now, it turns out there is no labor shortage in the United States. Just the opposite. We are drowning in available workers, millions of them, maybe 20 million. If ag companies are struggling to find employees right now, it could be possible they're not paying enough. Because that's how markets work. Remember, supply and demand? Our leaders know this well because they've spent years lecturing the rest of us about how the unemployed should adapt to the market every time their factories close and their job gets outsourced to China because McKinsey recommended it. So how about following their own rules for once? If you want workers, pay them American wages. The rest of us would be happy to buy slightly more expensive lettuce.